The movie kicks off with a glitzy bash happening in a high-end apartment in the heart of New York City. This swanky spot belongs to Tom Mullen, a super wealthy guy who owns a top airline company. He's hosting this party to premiere a flashy new ad that highlights his grind from the bottom to the top, all without any silver spoon or family boost. The commercial proudly shows how he built his empire from scratch with pure grit. It celebrates his rise to riches. We're still pretty small in the scheme of things, but then I never wanted to be the biggest. As the night rolls on, the film cuts between happy guests, sipping drinks, and a much more sinister scene unfolding somewhere hidden from view. A shady group is shown prepping a grimy little room clearly meant for a hostage. These folks are kidnappers, and it's obvious someone's about to be taken very soon. This sharp contrast between the glitz and the grime sets up the movie's main tension: fortune versus survival. Soon after, we spot Tom at a science fair in Central Park with his wife Kate and their young son Sean. Kate's a judge at the event, and as they explore the booths, Sean starts getting curious. And this tall guy right here is... What, son? Okay. He slowly drifts away from them, unnoticed. Before long, Sean is snatched by a group of criminals pulling off the job. The team includes Maris Connor, a caterer who's been inside the Mullen home before. Then there's the Barnes brothers, Clark and Cubby, both with shady pasts. And finally Miles Roberts, a tech-savvy hacker type who handles all things digital. Working together, they grab Sean, shove him into a white van, and vanish fast. A caterer, 2 ex-cons, and a tech nerd. This isn't Ocean's 11. These folks are nervous amateurs. Tom and Kate quickly realize that Sean is missing. Panic sets in as they dart around yelling his name, frantically scouring the crowd. But Sean is gone. No trace of him anywhere. Later, back home, the kidnappers reach out via email. A chilling video plays. Sean blindfolded and chained to a bed. He's trembling and powerless. "Do not involve the police or the FBI," the altered voice warns. The speaker uses a voice filter, masking their identity. The ransom? $2 million. Or else Sean dies if they alert cops or the press. "Do not inform the media, or I'll kill you." Even with that brutal warning, Tom and Kate feel helpless alone, so they decide to call the FBI. To avoid attention, FBI agents show up at the Mullen penthouse dressed like renovation workers. Leading the operation is Agent Lonnie Hawkins. With him are Kimber Welsh, Jack Sickler, and David. Inside, Agent Hawkins asks if they'd rather bargain with the kidnappers or just pay. But Tom's not torn. He's already filled 2 heavy suitcases with cash, ready to go the moment instructions arrive. Tom's immediate just pay them instinct shows he's used to solving everything with money. But will it work now? Meanwhile, back at the hideout in Brooklyn, Cubby, the younger thug, starts getting cold feet. He feels bad for what they've done to Sean. Sitting beside the frightened kid, he quietly offers him a piece of chocolate. However, the woman Maris harshly snaps at Cubby for showing sympathy or trying to comfort the kid. "What are you doing?" she barks. "You like this kid? Trying to bond? What is this, playtime?" Cubby's the only one showing remorse. And in a crime like this, that's a dangerous weakness. The others back Maris up, warning that Cubby's kindness could ruin everything. They remind him this isn't a game. But Cubby argues the boy won't even remember any faces. He's blindfolded. Still, the others aren't convinced. Even Clark, Cubby's own brother, agrees with the rest, though it's clear he's torn. He's got his brother's back but doesn't want to challenge the crew. Back at the Mullen penthouse, Tom pulls Agent Hawkins aside for a private word. He confesses a buried secret from his past. Years ago, during a heated labor dispute, Tom paid off a major union boss to end a strike. It was shady and illegal. The union leader got prison time. But Tom walked away untouched. Now, Tom wonders, could that dirty deal be linked to Sean's kidnapping? To chase that hunch, Hawkins arranges a tense prison meeting between Tom and the former union boss. But after some heated words, it's clear the man's not involved. "Where's my son?" Tom demands. "What, you and your mother blaming me?" the man growls. "Get off me." Back at the kidnapper's spot, Cubby's still trying to comfort the boy. Wanting to cheer him up, he heads out to buy cereal and tapes. He walks into a corner store, completely unaware that outside, a pair of cops are handling a totally unrelated case. Inside the store, Detective Jimmy Shaker and his partner are grilling a guy who just tried to rob the place. You ever seen that before? No. I'm gonna pull your prints off it. As they question him, the suspect notices Cubby pacing nervously and stares. Something about him feels off. A few minutes later, Jimmy leaves, but then quietly circles back alone. He begins shadowing Cubby from a distance, undetected. Jimmy trails him silently all the way back to the hideout. Once he arrives, he quietly slips inside and creeps past the locked door where Sean is being held. Then, bam! Out of nowhere, Jimmy pulls a gun and aims it right at Cubby's head. Cue the massive twist. Jimmy, the cop, is actually the mastermind behind the whole kidnapping plot. Yup, plot twist. The cop's the villain. And with that, the stakes explode. He rages at Cubby, calling him careless for making a store run and nearly blowing their cover. Jimmy says he's lucky no one noticed a known felon buying cereal and tapes. What were you gonna do with the tapes, huh? Later that night, Maris and Jimmy are in bed together. Yes, they're dating. Turns out she's part of the job because of him. She vents about how the others don't respect her and questions why Jimmy even needed them in the first place. Why do we need them? Why can't we just do this ourselves? Meanwhile, at the Mullen penthouse, Jimmy calls again, still using his fake voice, and gives new instructions for the ransom drop. The FBI tries to trace the call, but Jimmy's gear blocks them. Tech that jams the feds, classic 90s movie magic. The agents propose using a decoy, a Tom lookalike, to deliver the money. But Tom refuses. He's doing it himself. The FBI agrees and plants a small mic on Tom to monitor the exchange. Is it pride? Is it a desperate father's instinct? Either way, it's risky. As the crew prepares to move again, Cubby leans over to Sean and whispers some reassurance. He promises it's almost over and he'll be back with his family soon. It's almost over, kid. Tom heads to the first location. There, he gets a call on his car phone telling him to drive to a nearby gym. Inside, Jimmy orders him to jump into the swimming pool. At the bottom, Tom finds a locker key, but the water ruins the hidden mic. Track all unsubs. Exit the building. After surfacing, Tom opens the locker with the key. Inside, a radio and a new outfit. He's told to change clothes and transfer the cash into 2 duffel bags. He obeys and finds a different car waiting. The original suitcases are left behind, along with the FBI's surveillance. As the sun sets, Tom keeps driving, unaware that Jimmy is tailing him from another car. Over the radio, Jimmy taunts him, mocking his reliance on money, like the union bribe from years ago. Hey, saw your commercial. Not bad. Pretty good, but let me... Tom tries asking about Sean, begging for proof he's okay. But Jimmy dodges every question. This is full-on villain flex mode. Jimmy's enjoying the power trip. Enraged, Tom suddenly pulls over. The radio signal weakens, and he realizes Jimmy must be close, following him. Tom drives again. The signal gets stronger. This city, man! Then Jimmy tells him to turn off the main road and head toward an isolated rock quarry. He says once the money's dropped, Tom will get the address. Where Sean is hidden at the quarry, Cubby arrives riding an ATV. He demands the ransom. Tom asks for the location first, but Cubby brushes him off and grabs for the duffel bags. You want to see the kid again, man? Then hand over the money. Suddenly, 2 helicopters roar in, loaded with SWAT. They surround the area fast. Panicking, Cubby flees with the cash, firing wildly at the officers, hitting one of them. A sniper in a chopper takes aim and shoots Cubby clean in the neck, sending him flying off the ATV. Oh shit! SWAT team leader to CP, we have an agent down! Tom rushes over, desperate to get answers before Cubby dies. But it's too late. Cubby is bleeding out fast, unable to speak another word. Where is he? What have you done with him? Tom yells in anguish. He blames the FBI, furious that they just shot the only person who might have led them to his son. You killed my son! Agent Hawkins tries to calm him, explaining that even though Cubby's dead, they now know his identity. Cubby was a small-time crook often working with his big brother, Clark Barnes. Unlike Cubby, Clark is far worse, more seasoned, more dangerous. The FBI now believes that Clark is their best lead. He's the brain in the family and way higher up the food chain. Meanwhile, at the hideout, Clark is shattered over Cubby's death. Consumed by rage, he abandons the plan. He wants to kill Sean and run. Maris agrees. She's panicked and bitter. "I'm ruined. I can't go back to my life. What do you want me to do? Tell me!" But Jimmy won't have it. He snaps, shouting at both of them. The plan is still on, and he's not letting it fail. "I brought you in because you had brains and balls." He swears they'll get the ransom, and that once it's over, Sean will be eliminated. The kid dies when he's no longer useful. Back in Tom's lavish penthouse, news stations explode with coverage of the kidnapping and the ransom drop. The story is now public, flashing across every TV screen. Tom replays Cubby's final moments in his mind. How confused Cubby seemed when asked for Sean's location. Like he didn't know anything. That moment haunts Tom. Now he doubts if Jimmy ever planned to return his son at all. He suggests a new idea. Don't pay the ransom. Find another way to rescue Sean. If we give him what he wants, he'll kill Sean. Tom, you gotta play the odds, man. While all this unfolds, Jimmy calls again. He gives Tom fresh directions for a new ransom drop. "This is how you want to play it, huh? You're gonna betray me, Tom?" At first, Tom follows the new instructions, but soon after listening to what Jimmy says, he changes his mind. "No FBI. You pay me. Shouldn't be a problem." Jimmy snarls over the phone. "Now we got a coach circus out there." Tom doesn't flinch. He calmly tells Jimmy to turn on Channel 5 and watch the news for the next few hours. Then, click, he ends the call. Without missing a beat, Tom rushes to a nearby TV station. Once there, he storms into the newsroom and takes over live broadcasting. He sits behind the anchor desk, the full $2 million ransom piled around him, clearly visible. Looking dead into the camera, Tom drops a bombshell. He's not paying the ransom. This is as close as you'll ever get to it. You won't see a single dollar. Instead of giving in, Tom flips the script. He declares the money a public bounty. Whoever helps catch or even kill the kidnapper gets all of it. Tom's on-air stunt is part heroic gamble, part desperate play. Genius? Maybe. Reckless? Definitely. But his message is crystal clear. The kidnapper is getting nothing. Then, one last offer. Return Sean safely, and Tom will cancel the bounty. So you still have a chance to do the right thing. Afterward, Tom returns home. His wife and Agent Hawkins are stunned, reeling from what he's done. They never expected such a bold move. But Tom's unshaken. He defends his decision with fierce conviction. He even manages to convince Kate this is the only real shot they have. "If I give him the money, he'll kill Sean. I would, if I was him." Tom explains that Cubby's erratic behavior during the first drop-off made it clear the money was never going to save his son. Meanwhile, at the hideout, everything is falling apart. Jimmy is quickly losing control. The rest of the team sees the bounty and panic spreads like fire. Now more than ever, they want to kill Sean, eliminate the risk. But Jimmy bursts in just in time. He blocks them from hurting the boy. "It's not time yet," he barks, shoving them back. "Lie down. You want to stay down there forever, maggot?" "Nobody pulls out on me. You know me." Jimmy sees the storm coming. The plan is cracking fast. So, to hold his grip and avoid full collapse, he starts cooking up a new strategy. He quietly sends a message to Kate, Tom's wife. In it, he tells her to meet him alone at an old renovated church at 2 a.m. and not to say a word to Tom. If Mr. Mullen finds out, it's over. Kate arrives at the church, nerves on edge. Suddenly, Jimmy appears from the shadows wearing a ski mask. He jumps out, frightening her, and threatens to slice Sean open if they don't pay up. To prove he's serious, he throws her Sean's bloody shirt. Kate is horrified. She returns home shaking, completely traumatized. The images, the fear, they rattle her to the core. Now she's unsure. Maybe Tom's plan isn't the right one. Agent Hawkins notices the shift. He tries to sway her. Paying is the only way to safely bring Sean back. But Tom's resolve doesn't break. Instead, he walks outside and steps right in front of a crowd of reporters. Then, another bombshell. He doubles the bounty. The reward is now $4 million. Twice the money. Now it's personal. Jimmy watches the news, his ego flaring. He's furious. This isn't a game anymore. Desperate, he calls Tom again, but this time he lets Sean speak just for a few seconds. Proof of life. Then, another demand. But still, neither man backs down. You got one more chance to pay me, or you're never going to hear from him again. Their exchange spirals. Angry yelling, blame, fear. A full-on shouting match. And then, bang. Jimmy fires a gun into the wall, his final attempt to scare them. You want him? Huh? You want him? Come get him! Click. The call ends. Tom and Kate are left frozen in fear, hearts pounding, unsure if their son is even still alive. Back at the hideout, the plan is disintegrating. Jimmy, rattled and furious, walks to a nearby laundromat, trying to think through next steps. Meanwhile, Clark and Miles begin quietly loading up the white van. They're ready to run. Inside the house, Maris starts spiraling again. Her thoughts return to one thing: killing Sean. While sitting in the laundromat, Jimmy hatches one final desperate scheme. He grabs his police radio and sends out a fake emergency dispatch. Then he dashes outside, flashes his badge, and pretends to arrest Clark and Miles on the spot. But they catch on quick. They realize this isn't a rescue. It's betrayal. Jimmy's plan spirals fast. Desperation makes even smart criminals sloppy. Clark and Miles bolt for the van. In a split-second decision, Jimmy draws his weapon and guns them both down. To make it look clean, he plants a used pistol on Miles's body, faking self-defense. Just then, Maris steps outside and sees the carnage. Stunned, furious, she raises her own gun and shoots Jimmy in the shoulder. Bleeding and in agony, Jimmy fires back instinctively, killing her instantly. Police arrive seconds later. Jimmy, limping and injured, stumbles back into the house. He collapses next to Sean and radios for help, claiming he just found the hideout and rescued the boy. He stays at Sean's side, posing as the hero until the emergency service unit bursts through the door. Whoa, 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 I'm a cop! Hold your fire! I'm a cop! Jimmy, playing savior after murdering his own team. The audacity is unreal. Too bad for him, Sean's memory wasn't erased. Soon after, Tom and Kate get the call. They rush to the scene and are finally reunited with their son. Thankfully, Sean is alive. Tom, overwhelmed, thanks Jimmy, who's now being loaded into an ambulance. Thank you. You're safe now. But Sean's recovery is hard. He struggles with darkness and can't stand sudden light. Symptoms from being blindfolded for so long. Leave the light on. No, we'll leave them on. A few days later, Jimmy arrives at Tom's penthouse, there to collect the $4 million reward. Tom, surprisingly, agrees to hand it over. He invites Jimmy into his private study to write the check. But just as Tom begins writing, Jimmy interrupts with a sudden, serious question. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Why didn't you pay the ransom? Tom answers honestly. He says he couldn't give millions to someone so heartless and evil. But, he adds, if it had gone any further, he would have paid 10 times as much to bring Sean home alive. As they talk, Sean wanders into the room. He stops at the doorway, curious about the man with his father. For a moment, it's innocent. But then, he catches part of Jimmy's face and hears his voice. And suddenly, primal terror. Sean freezes. His body trembles. He wets his pants. No words, just raw fear. The memory floods back. Tom notices the reaction. And it clicks. The way Sean looked. The sound of that voice. The news report saying Maris didn't act alone. Pieces begin to fall into place. Then Kate walks in, smiling warmly. She greets Jimmy with a hug. Thank you. Thank you so much. The irony cuts deep. The man who traumatized her child is now being thanked like a hero. Sean is paralyzed. This is worse than the blindfold. Tom is now certain Jimmy was involved. Fatima, would you help me with something downstairs? Sean quietly leaves the room, but the damage is done. Tom turns back, his demeanor changing. Well, you probably need to get going. He hands Jimmy the check, but hesitates. Jimmy notices. Tension sharpens. He senses the shift. Something's wrong. Without warning, Jimmy draws a gun. He demands Tom wire the money straight to his account now. Tom nods calmly, suggests they go to the bank together. Transfer the funds there, then you're free to leave the country. Jimmy considers it, then agrees. But before they head out, he makes a dark threat. I took a bullet. Now you want to cheat me? I might come back. Maybe kill your boy myself. They exit the penthouse. In the car, Tom dials a number. Private jet, he says. But really, it's Hawkins. He tells the FBI they'll stop at the bank before heading to the airport. Jimmy grows suspicious, but before he can react, Tom hangs up. I'll explain later. Give Katie a call. Bye. At the bank, they're greeted as usual. Tom sits down, wires the money. Everything looks normal, but it's a stall tactic. Get this man his money. Thanks very much. No problem. Just hit enter. Meanwhile, the FBI had alerted police that Jimmy was the prime suspect. As the two leave the bank, two officers approach. Can we talk to you for a second, sir? We have to detain you. Jimmy doesn't hesitate. He pulls his gun, shoots both officers. Chaos erupts. He bolts into the street. Tom races after him. They struggle in front of a storefront, a raw, brutal fight. Tom wrestles Jimmy's gun away, aims it at him. Police swarm in, shouting commands. Put the gun down, Tom. Put the gun down. But Jimmy, bleeding and weak, reaches for a backup pistol hidden at his ankle. Tom sees it, acts fast. One shot, then pop, pop, pop. Hawkins fires 3 more rounds. Every bullet hits. Jimmy collapses, dead. Hawkins triple-tapped him. Overkill, but deeply satisfying. No loose ends. Kate arrives moments later. She and Tom embrace as the police lock down the scene. The threat is over. Jimmy's reign is finished. The movie ends quietly. With Tom and Kate arm in arm, finally safe, finally free. If you enjoyed this recap, hit subscribe as it really helps out the channel. If you want to watch more, click on the playlist shown on screen. See you in the next Plot Crunch.